on camera.
Folks, I'd like to introduce you to Charlie Callahan. He's co-founder of Bright Spot Creative and works with the NFL, Super Bowl, Telemundo, events, lots of creative stuff. He's worked for Works Branding. It's an ad agency branding company in Prospect, Connecticut. While he was there, he was a director of business strategy and did brand strategy, business development, etc. And he also worked for Disney and ESPN. And at that point, what he was doing is strategic marketing at that time. This unit this week that we're in right now, you couldn't have the best guest speaker.
Thank you.
And
Hope I can live up to the billing. So I hope to kind of just keep it kind of informal and just kind of tell you a little bit about our story, some real world kind of applications, and then have some questions and stuff. So yeah, I mean, right on my background, I spent 10 years at ESPN, a long time in their affiliate marketing department. That's the department that markets the networks to the cable providers. So if you have Comcast, Charter, or something like that. And everyone used to say, well, how hard is it to market or sell ESPN? It wasn't ESPN you had to sell or market. It was ESPN Deportes, ESPN Classic, ESPN News, the secondary channels that were always had to be a challenge to be sold in. The highest, you know, the most expensive cable network that they cable companies pay for, so it was always a negotiation. So I worked with the sales guys. It's kind of my right from school, I got a job at ESPN, 10 years there. Worked with the sales guys, went with them on the road to help them put, here's our sales presentation, here's how we're going to support it. And all I did was write marketing plans, leveraging ESPN's assets to drive a cable company's business. Get new subscribers, get people to upgrade to digital, buy more pay-per-view, whatever it was. So left there, went to Works, which is an agency prospect, spent a couple of years there, and then took the leap of faith and partnered with the head of creative and started Bright Spot Creative. It's about 5 years ago now. So our office is in Meriden. We're a small team, but ever evolving, it's interesting. So when we talk about kind of, what kind of audience here? Who are you folks like? Are you guys all marketing majors or?
No.
No? We've got a handful of marketing majors.
Human resources.
Accounting, HR. I'm working with accounting. I'm actually working with people in accounting from ESPN right now on a project. It's kind of odd, but we're working with the accounting. It's the women's ESPN, what is it, ERG, Employees Resource Group. And they have a committee, and the woman that we're doing a leadership conference on their main campus, and we did the website and all the marketing for it to all the internal employees. And the person that's leading the website development works in their accounting department. So a little challenging because they're not web, they don't know about the web, so we're doing, it's an educational thing, so it probably takes us a little through times as long as we would hope than, with a savvy web developer or somebody that does it on a regular basis, but we work with all works of life. So HR,
business management administration.
Okay.
Human services.
What is human services?
It's like social work.
Yeah, like social work.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. And I think what I'll try to talk about too is this, like branding. I know is a big thing that you kind of talking about today, but these lessons that I've learned, if I can pass them on to you folks, can apply no matter what you're in. Not only is it going to help you within the class, hopefully, but also in your own professional development. I've also come here and spoke to the graduating classes about personal brand development. About having your own, setting up your own brand profile and your own branding of yourself and how that's going to help you get a job, land a job, keep a job, and how it never ends. I mean, we all have personal brands, but more importantly, from a business perspective, to keep it within the teachings of the class, I'll just tell you a little bit story of kind of how we started. When I left Works, my partner came to me and she said, "Come on, let's go do this on your own. We do all this stuff, come on, let's do it. You're crazy, worst economy in years. Welcome. Have some pizza." you know, worst economy in years, but we kind of took the lead to go for it. And when we started the company, I thought we were going to be a social media marketing company. We were going to be one of those companies that all we did was Facebook promotions, Twitter promotions, and help companies with their social strategy. That's what we started our first website. That's what we were going to do. We were going to be a social agency. Well, we ended up making about this much money out of it. You know, very little of it was social. The first project we landed was with the NFL. Literally started on my kitchen table, my partner and I, just the two of us, and working off the kitchen table, writing website copy for our new website. And I get an email from somebody at ESPN, and they said, hey, I just told my friend at the NFL about you guys, they're going to call you. I'm like, yeah, the NFL's going to call us. We don't even have a website yet, you know? Within a few days they did, and we had a meeting. Went down there, put a presentation together, total kind of smoke and mirrors, showed a bunch of work that we worked on together, but at our other agency, you know, and said, here's the kind of stuff that we've done, or what we can do. They were, you know, we walked out of there with basically an opportunity to do a website for them, and they said, you know, we need a website, we need it in 2 weeks. It was for the season opener, and it was a website where they invite all their VIPs to come to the season kickoff, and they had some problems that needed to be solved, and we built a website for them. And 5 years later, we're still doing work for them. So we've probably built somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 websites for the NFL. Small little shop in Meriden, Connecticut, doing work with the largest sports brand in the world. You know, so it's turned out to be all right. But it's interesting when we talk about branding and who we are. We constantly kind of evolve. We're always looking at our message. We're always we are constantly changing. We almost change to the point of who we're going to meet with. We have so many capability presentations. I don't know if it's still, you know, capability presentations that we go and give different clients, and we tailor them and the messaging based on who the audience is. If we're going to meet with Charter Communications or MSG or somebody like that, it's one thing. MSG, it's all sports-based. But even who we are or what we do changes a little bit based on who we're going to meet with to make sure that it's, you know, extremely relevant. The amount of work, and I don't know, you probably won't get this on film, but just kind of, we try to keep it short of who we are, and we have a little positioning statement, but the things that always kind of stay the same is the things that we hang our hat on. You know, we can never, things that are important to us, our core beliefs, right? So we're never going to be the biggest agency, we're not going to be the cheapest, we're not going to be the most expensive, but we're going to work as hard as we possibly can. Things we can control, customer service, making sure we always answer emails in a timely fashion, that you speak to a human more on the phone. We forward the phones overnight to cell phones to make sure that you get somebody and it's not like, you know, we left a message, we can't get a hold of you guys. Hopefully that doesn't happen. It happens on occasion, but we aim for it not to happen. But, so our core beliefs and our core foundations and our, you know, our core brand principles stays the same kind of who we are, but the company itself may kind of evolve as technology changes, as our clients change, as the business kind of changes. So as we started off with trying to be a social network, you know, social networking agency, and we're going to put everybody on Facebook and do all that stuff, we ended up doing very little of that and started doing a lot of special event marketing. So special event marketing, for an example, would be one project that we do every year is ESPN sends 500-700 people to the Super Bowl every year. It's all their corporate clients, their customers, their sponsors, partners, things like that. You know, each department gets an allocation of how many invites they get to be, and they put them up for 4 or 5 days at the Super Bowl. Well, we do all the marketing for that. We'll do the email marketing is a big thing of what we do. We do a ton of email marketing. And it's not like the emails that end up in most people's junk. They're usually invites, saved dates, things like that. Marketing an event to a select group of people and say, hey, save the date, you're invited to this event, click here to register. Then it's a whole website to have people register for their trip or for their experience. So we start, you know, starting off with social, moving into special events. So now special events probably drives about 80% of our revenue right now. We do traditional websites, we do a ton of it. We do a lot of consumer-facing stuff, but it's, but evolving our brand of who we are. So Bright Spot Creative is our parent company. We're currently working on a new website, brightspotevents.com. We want a website that is specifically targeted to that service that we provide. Brightspotcreative.com, nice portfolio of creative that will always be there, show you our work, but to capitalize kind of on the business of our niche of what we have, we needed another website. So we're constantly working with copywriters right now, going through all the web content, working for search engine optimization, working for certain terms that we can own and people go in and search for certain things, that we want to be able to be the best special event marketing company that there is. Now, that's led us to creating new products, and we talk about different product lines and different pricing and things like that. So when we used to build these websites for all these special events, they were always custom built. Everything was built, NFL would tell us what they needed, we designed it, we built it, customized just for them. There was kind of a premium on the price too. Then somebody else would tell us what they need, we design a website, we build it, and do it again. And we were starting from scratch over and over again. And at the time, we had a lot of 1099 employees. Those are contract employees. They're not full-time employees. Well, legally, they would be considered full-time employees if they wanted to put in for unemployment, because as much work that we would give them at the time. But these guys would be like, okay, here's the job, give me an estimate. And they'd say back, all right, it's going to take me 60 hours, 80 hours. And they may charge me $75 an hour, and I may bill the client $125 an hour for the work. So, we were paying a premium every time to kind of rebuild this thing. So, there's a lot of platforms out there. There's much cheaper options out there for event registration websites, email marketing, but our stuff always looked better. Ours was always custom built, and I said, well, how do we take something like this, and this all goes to the evolve of the brand of who we are and different product lines. Well, how do we find cost savings where we're not always recreating the wheel every time we want to create these event registration websites? So one of them, if you go look at when you go home or pull it up, ESPNWSummit.com, that's one that's live right now for ESPNW. It's a beautiful site. It's an event that we do every year. It's a $2,500 ticket to go to this thing. And we do all the marketing for this summit to get it sold out. It's we aim for 500 paid attendees. We're close. We're past the halfway mark. Usually everyone does it at the last minute, but we've sold it out the last 4 years. So we're confident that we'll be able to do it. They've increased the price for the ticket every year, but they still, but it's still. So if you go to ESPNWSummit.com, you'll get an idea of what some of our work may look like from an event perspective. So we sit there, all right, so we're building these, we're no longer a social company, we're now really embedded with special events, and we're creating these one-off websites. So how do we create something that, we're competing, there's tons of different platforms out there. Oh, it's free, you just pay for whatever, and it's a platform, it's a template, upload your logo, updo whatever it may be. So now we've gone and created the Bright Spot Event Engine. It's a new product out there. We invested a ton of money in this platform over the last 2 years of developing it, and it's still kind of leading edge, but now we've seen kind of, instead of taking maybe 60 hours for a developer to configure a website, we're down to about 24 hours. And so the prices get to be passed on, the savings of price gets to passed on to our clients as well. We're quicker to market. And we still give them a very flexible kind of design, and we give them a ton of, great creative, which they love. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about us, and then how it, and then the branding that goes into our clients as well. But so now we have this platform that we developed, and we're a marketing agency, but we do a lot of tech. So literally just had this discussion this week. Well, what are we? What are we really? Our tech guys look at us one way, our clients look at us this way. Are we we bill ourselves as a full-service marketing agency. trade talk, you do everything. We can, if we don't do it, we know people that we can do it. But it's still kind of, I don't like this hokey, hogwash kind of stuff, Marketing, I call it horse hockey, marketing speak, it's like, that's not our style. We're very straightforward. We're going to tell you like it is. We're not going to sell you. We're going to tell you what we can do and how we can help you. But, so what are we? We're trying to figure it out. How do we grow this thing? Where do we want to be? What do we want to do? So we're constantly kind of reinventing ourselves. We are now in the process of kind of spinning off Bright Spot Events into its own LLC and going to be looking for funding. And we're talking funding, like major funding, multi-millions of dollars to kind of put into the company to hire more salespeople, to hire more developers, to hire, and try to blow this thing up. So instead of looking at it as the events business as just a segment of Bright Spot Creative, now we're looking at it as a tech startup. There's a company called Double Dutch that's out there. And I look at I know all the competitors that are out there. There's Double Dutch, Certain, C-Vent. These are all special event registration platforms. Some of them are public companies. They're on the New York Stock Exchange traded. And so we have this product. It's pretty much, it's kind of ahead of a lot of these folks, but we don't leverage it for as good as as much as it can possibly be. So my partner and I, and our head of tech, we sat down and said, well, where do we want to go with this thing? So we are going to put together a deck, a presentation, and try to get in front of people that can put up some cash, they'll give us some funding to invest in this and say, okay, for X amount of dollars, you give us X amount of dollars, you own X amount of the company, and then that'll allow us to do A, B, and C. So that's like just from our own branding and perspective, Bright Spot Creative, to Bright Spot Events, to Bright Spot Events as a tech company. And we continue to kind of evolve, and we're going to continue to evolve and kind of capitalize this and change. For myself, I find it the most exciting part of the whole business. I can't stand doing the same thing every day. I can't stand to say, I love creating things. I can't draw a stick figure, but I love to create different ideas, different products, get involved with different opportunities because, even if somebody was to buy our company and we were to move on, well, I would go right into, I'd want to go in and do so. I'd want to start another business and do it again. Has anyone here ever wanted to start their own business, even thought about it? I've never thought about it until I was approached having a job. Never. I want to work in sports marketing. I want to work at ESPN. I want to make This Is Sports Center commercials. That was my goal. I never made a This Is Sports Center commercial. I was in one, but I never made one. That's a whole other story, a true story. But I never thought about having my own business. But now that I've kind of got bitten by the bug, I don't ever want to go back. I don't want to ever have to, if I want to take a time off, I'm going to take time off. If I want to go, I have 2 little girls, I'm going to go spend time with them. If I want to take vacation, I'm going to take vacation. I have, the stresses are not from outside, their own personal stresses that I put on myself. To get, I have to worry about making payroll and paying the bills and all that kind of stuff. But it's self-imposed stress as opposed to somebody outside putting the stress on me. And so once you get bit by that, you don't want to go back. That's another course. It's entrepreneurship 101. But so the evolution of who we are, creating products, different price points. So now I was just telling Anita before the meeting started that we have a proposal in front of NBC to do, at minimum, 50 events for them next year. That's almost one a week. It would be half of last year's sales in 1 week. I don't know if it seems they love us. We've been working together with them for years.
NBC Connecticut or
NBC New York, 30 Rock.
Are you going to take your company on a Shark Tank?
I thought, we thought, no, but maybe some products though.
Yeah, something.
We do a lot by Google Docs, shared docs, right? So whole companies almost run on Google Docs. That's how we share. A lot of guys work remotely. We're constantly IMing. You know, we do a lot of, you know, Google Talk and meetings and, you know, that kind of stuff because it's hard to get work done when we're all in the office. Our coders need quiet. They are much more productive when they're at home. So I could care less what you wear to work, when you come in. As long as you get your stuff done, I really don't care, you know. Be at a meeting on time, represent us well, don't do anything stupid. And it works, you know, and they like it, you know, and it's, you know, it's interesting because we've kind of won them over hearts and minds, and they give 110% as opposed to ruling with fear and, you know, a rolled up paper, you know, newspaper on the nose kind of thing that only will do enough not to get fired. Now they enjoy doing it and will go yard for it. And there's nice benefits of it too. I bring them to the Super Bowl almost every year. You know, go to the U.S. Open. I mean, you know, and they don't have to, you know, hotel, meals, tickets, everything. You know, they just, you know, they go and, you know, it's a fringe benefit, you know. But it's interesting how we've kind of evolved as a company, where we're kind of going. We wouldn't be able to do the NBC deal if we didn't get our platform built to where it is today. Price-wise and what it would cost me, I would never be able to get it done in the time they need to get it done and at a price point that makes them happy if we didn't invest all this time in building a platform. So it'd be a nice cushion to be able to go in there and be able to do that. So, but one of the other things that we do, we don't stop there. So we actually have other people that come to us with ideas, and they want to, we're creating, we do app development as well, and we're creating an app for ourselves in partnership with another company. Now it's interesting, one of our clients, Fuse, the television network, I don't know if you guys know them, so we built a website for Fuse. We partnered with their agency. They did the creative, we did all the coding. Now, our company is located in, on South Broad Street in Meriden, Connecticut. The name of this company is Broad Street, and they're 2 blocks from Madison Square Garden. And so they don't have in-house digital. They do a lot of, like, we do a lot of what they call media upfronts. It's the big sales presentation for all the networks every year. It's where they announce their new fall shows, their new fall schedules, also announce everything that's been canceled. It's their biggest, highest profile event. They spend well over $1 million for a 3-hour pitch, 2-hour meeting. You know, and they wine and dine them. They bring them in, they have it at Radio City Music Hall, they bring in cheerleaders, celebrities. I mean, it's all big, hoity-toity deals. They're big, but we did it for NBC, NBC Universal, Fuse, Telemundo. We do all the marketing for their upfront, so we're kind of an upfront specialist. And so is this company. So they ended up having meetings, we worked with them, everything worked really well. They don't have in-house digital. They approached me and, you know, we worked together, met the owners, had some meetings. Next thing you know, they wanted to buy us. And they said, you know, we would complement each other really well. We don't know digital as well as you guys do. You know, so I bring my partner in. We've only been in business for, you know, 5 years, 4 years at the time. And I said, you know what, interesting, it wasn't retired money, it was some formula based on actualizations of salaries, of profit, and all projections and all that kind of stuff. You know, it would have been nice though, I could have a salary and not have to worry about making payroll, but you know, we weren't ready, so we decided not to. But long story short, we've partnered with them. They had an idea for an app, they can't build it. They came to us and said, would you guys be interested in building this app? So now we're building an app for iOS and Android that targets media companies. And we're partners on it. This is the kind of stuff that kind of gets me. It's another product and service. Here, we're a marketing agency, but here we are partnering on an app that we're going to try and sell to presenting sponsors. We're going to go, like, in the industry, there's Ad Age and Ad Week and all these, you know, Hollywood Reporter and all that stuff. There's all these, you know, media companies that we're going to go, you know, and try to sell in title sponsorship. So they could say, you know, the upfront, the app brought to you by Ad Age or whatever it is. But again, it's not your typical agency kind of work. You know, the problem with an agency model is that you basically bill by hours. Now, in Connecticut, an agency hours would bill, they're anywhere from $75 to $150 an hour, somewhere around there. In New York, they're $300 an hour. All right? You run out of hours in a day to build. There's only so much. It's like, okay, you can't, what else can you do? There's only so much billable time. But when you create products that you can kind of put in the App Store and they can be recurring billing, that kind of revenue and that kind of business model is extremely interesting. We don't want to give up the marketing side of it, but we also, are very intrigued, and especially me, about the tech startup side of things. So creating our product, spinning that off Bright Spot events, creating other apps. We had another gentleman call me today, a friend of a friend, a guy called, great idea, he works for banking, he's an executive of Bank of America, has a great idea for an app, but he's looking for a partner to build it, doesn't know anything about it. Instead of charging him, we're thinking about taking partnership. Okay, we'll build it for free, we want 30% of the app. And it's going to cost me a good amount of money to pay the guys to build the app, but that's more intriguing than, paying a one-time deal, making some money, and then off with it. I'd rather be involved with, some kind of leading-edge technology. So the evolution of our company, and to try to stay within the syllabus of what you're talking about branding, kind of positioning, pricing, we've evolved over 5 years so many times, and I'm sure we're not done, and we'll continue to evolve, just as bigger companies today. I heard you talking about the Apple WebEx today.
The keynote speech.
The keynote speech,
You
when it was up, it kept on crashing.
Yeah, I've seen it. Like, you got to keep reloading it.
It was a nightmare. And, Apple talks about, being innovative, and they really were. They kind of named it in marketing, and they do great, beautiful design and products by design, and their branding is phenomenal, and that's why those MacBooks or Mac Airs they are super expensive, a lot more than you're going to pay for any other kind of tablet or laptop, and it's not because necessarily they're that much better, because of their branding is so much better. I used to do a brand presentation, and I would, I'd start and I would pull out, I have a brown paper bag, and I would just pull things out and get people's reactions. And I'd pull out, Stop and Shop Cheerios, and I'd pull out, official Cheerios, whatever their brand name is. Which one are you going to pay more for? Everybody knew that you're going to pay for General Mills, Cheerios, or whatever it is, more because of their brand name. And the other product's probably close to it, and your kids probably wouldn't know the difference. Branding's important. For example, Tiffany. Right? All the women, I pull out the little blue box. Most women know. I say the little blue box, and all of a sudden, eyes big, big grin. There's probably something good in there.
They're Tiffany.
The little blue box. You know what the little blue box is, because it's branded. You pay a premium for it. You're buying the name. It's a good product. But it's also important where, I may be dating myself here, but does anyone remember when Tylenol had, there was the...
People were killed, they were tainted. Yeah.
Tainted Tylenol.
Yeah.
Tainted Tylenol. Well, have some pizza, please. I'm Charlie. Frank. Nice to meet you. I'm Frank now. Dirty Harry. But the importance of branding, if you remember the Tylenol, you're more likely to get forgiveness if you're a strong brand. If a generic brand kind of went out there and people who were popping these pills and dying, then they're not going to be able to recover from that. Tylenol, having such a strong brand, was able to recover from it.
I think BP has too.
Thanks.
Same kind of situation.
Yeah, the BP oil
Commercials
spill.
now are back
That's all branding and the value of a brand and why it's important to be able to do it and do it the right way. You can charge a premium if you have a strong brand like that. People like a name they can trust. They feel warm and fuzzy. If you go stand in the aisle and you know this one, you don't know that one, you're going to buy the one you know. And it can be 2/3, 50%, so much more higher price because of the name. generic gas stations. You know, those fill up down the streets probably going to be much less expensive than what you're paying at Mobil. This and the other. It's still going to make you gas. Is still going to start your car and get you down the road. You know, so the importance of branding and why companies spend so much money to protect their brands is because of things like that. Because there is a value to it. What was it? It was Coca-Cola or Pepsi. The last couple of years, Pepsi just changed their logo, kind of tilted it sideways a little bit, probably 3-4 years ago. Billions of dollars. Not from the cost of them to go ahead and just have a design company tilt it, why they tilted it, and all this, that, and the other thing, because it looks like a smile, and you're going to be happy if you drink Pepsi. But think about every billboard, every Pepsi truck, every Pepsi sign, every Pepsi uniform that had to be swapped out to take their logo, to kind of tweak it a little bit because it looks like a Pepsi smile on it. I don't know if you guys ever noticed, you know, it's interesting, you even look at logos. Have you ever seen the arrow in FedEx?
Yes.
You know, going forward, FedEx. I mean, there's meanings behind all this stuff. You'll never any FedEx truck that you look at or anything, you'll never look at it the same. You know that there's the reverse arrow pointing forward for kind of moving forward with FedEx. But FedEx again, you know, premium name. You got a premium name when it's got to be there overnight. Absolutely has to be there overnight, and you pay how much more than you do for U.S. Postal Service overnight service for FedEx. Because you trust their brand, it makes you feel warm and fuzzy. That presentation's going to get to that client, right? So this is the kind of stuff where big companies kind of go into branding, they see the value of it, and why have a strong branding. Now, the social world is kind of, has shaken things up a lot. You know, if you got a complaint, and you call up, and you can never get a hold of anyone to hear your complaint, go on Facebook or Twitter. They will get back to you like that. Public shaming for a company is an amazing tool.
They must have millions of people just waiting for something.
Yeah, and all day long, they will get back to you. And if you tweet them, you Facebook them, you write your complaint, they will call you, private message you, give you a number and say, you know, what can we do to make this right? Because now it's not just you and a customer service rep, you know, on what other, you know, now it's out there for the world to see. And they don't know how many followers you have and friends you have. So that kind of, the branding people, anyone familiar with Bob's Discount Furniture?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bob's Discount Furniture? Not online. Not on Facebook, or at least not a couple years ago when we were looking at them.
Just a pet.
You'll see their ads.
The e-pet.
You will not see Bob's Furniture Facebook page. They may have changed, but when we were talking to them, they didn't want to because of all the negative comments. They would actually have to answer to somebody. You know, Bob's is a cost-effective way to get a couch, but it's more your college living room couch and your first home stuff than the stuff that's going to last 20 years, you know? There's a reason for it. I mean, you know, so they don't necessarily want to be out there because then they would have to answer to all their complaints. So there's strategic reasons not to do it as well. But it's NFL. Anyone keeping up with Ray Rice?
Oh, that's my favorite team.
Right.
I'm disappointed.
What a black, well, I don't want to use that. I was going to say black eye. That's a bad connotation about what happened, but it's amazing that it was a 2-game suspension to you're kicked out of football indefinitely.
Yeah.
Why did that happen?
They didn't handle it right in social
Court of
media.
public opinion.
Yeah.
The branding, what people think about it. Whoa, we can't touch this. You got, you know, before that came out, you know, 2-game suspensions. Let's let the courts handle it. Let's go through it.
Would we have even known about it?
You know, and then all of a sudden, whoa! And now people are calling for the commissioner to resign because of what he knew and when he knew it. It all goes to their brand. Is that going to hurt their ratings? Is it going to get, you know, maybe people start picketing and women's groups start picketing outside the NFL, you know, offices in New York, or they start picketing, you know, games. Maybe some people don't go, or maybe they start losing subscribers or sponsors, you know? You know, Visa. Visa's their biggest sponsor. Maybe Visa says, you know what, NFL, if you don't start doing with this, we're going to pull our sponsorship. We're not going to have anything to do with you. Because it's all branding. You know, it's not the, you know, their product's still their product. You know, it's the present day arena. I mean, from like gladiators, it's, you know, it's still the #1 sport in the world, but it's all their branding. So now they got to react to the public outcry. You know, it's a powerful thing. And that's why these companies pay a ton of money to do it. You know, I used to want to work in public relations. That was my minor in college, public relations minor. And then I found out that it's really just, you know, you're a spinster. You know, you can't tell things like they are. You got to kind of spin it. You know, ESPN, they had one of their announcers, when they were talking about the thing, it was kind of
Stephen A. Smith.
Stephen A. Smith
Yeah,
was defending, you know, kind of, well, she kind of had it coming, and she was yelling at him, and she hit her, and
Yeah, he got suspended.
he got, but not until public outcry.
Yeah.
You know, and people went, you know, totally nuts about the whole reaction to this thing. And so the PR department of ESPN is spinning everything. It's like, you know, yeah, go ahead.
Don't you think like marketers have to work closely with like the not the lobbyists, but you know what I'm saying, like the social media, as far as like getting the input on?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And you hear about, you know, a lot of, at least I do because I follow it, about tweets that were really bad, people using the wrong hashtag. Matter of fact, talking about Ray Rice, a hashtag that was trending on Twitter was "Why I Stayed." And it was all about women who were survivors of domestic violence, telling their story of why I stayed because I was feared for my life. I stayed because I thought, you know, I wasn't worth anything. I stayed, you know, for the kids. And so that was a trending hashtag on Twitter. Now, one of the brands, I think it was DiGiorno, was like, didn't know I was trending or what it really meant. Well, I stayed for the pepperoni pizza or something, and made a joke light of it, not knowing, you know.
You gotta be quick.
And it was like, and they just, the social, you know, the Twitterverse went to town on it. This is yesterday, this is today, this
Yeah, I
is
was
yesterday.
gonna say, I just saw something today.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the Twitterverse went nuts on them for using the wrong hashtag. What they did, and they handled it properly in my eyes, they apologized up and down, left, right, and sideways. We are sorry. We didn't research it. We didn't know why it was trending. We just jumped on a trending hashtag and put our DiGiorno messaging on it. You know, and apologize, apologize, apologize. Instead of hiding it, you know, they deleted it, but but this is all branding. You know, it all affects their bottom line. So it's interesting to kind of see how it plays out in today's world. And social's kind of changed the game and leveraged a lot of things these days and give the consumer a lot of power because you didn't necessarily have it before. But now it's, you know, so they work with, the way we get involved with the big companies, you know, their branding and why they like and work with us and kind of pay us a premium to do their marketing for them. For example, we do a lot of email marketing for NBC. And their different networks, Oxygen, Bravo, the different, they all fall under NBC Universal. Our little shop of 8 people send out a ton of emails for one of the biggest media companies in the world because we do it right. And they weren't even following best practices. They came to us and said, hey, we're trying to send an email. We can't get it to go. When we got a chance, they were on the receiving end of an email that we did for Telemundo. And at the bottom of the email, it said, email marketing provided by Bright Spot Creative.
Wow.
So NBC got it. They said, can you help us out? We got an email for you. We can't get it. Next thing we're down there at 30 Rock, showing it was like common stuff that they were doing wrong. But when you send an email, you can measure how many people received it, how many people opened it, how many people clicked on a link, what devices that they're on. with browsers that they're in. And the thing that we kind of suffer with a lot is each device, each browser, each operating system looks at things a little differently. So if you've been on the receiving end of an email and you just see the blue X and the image is not there, or it's not
You got an
formatted
unhappy
right,
face or whatever that
yeah,
is.
and you gotta squeeze it. It's like, so we kind of just took common best practices that we do, and now when we design an email, we make sure mobile first, because so many people are opening emails, on their phones, so it's mobile optimized. We test subject lines for spam, because that goes into, could send it into your spam folder. We test the body content for spam. Now, I think it was NBC or ABC or something like that, I had a show, Desperate Housewives. Well, we put Desperate Housewives was in the subject line. They kept on failing all our spam tests. We're like, we have to take Desperate Housewives out of the subject line because it's going to end up in everybody's, they think it's some kind of porno site they're trying to get, So, they're like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, We test the rendering of what an email looks like for over 20 different email clients. An email client may be Gmail, Outlook, whatever it may be. Corporate America, they're still on BlackBerries. A ton of them on BlackBerries because they didn't want their employees to have apps and to be surfing the net. They just want to be able to call them and get their email. You know how hard it is to get an email to look right on a BlackBerry? There's a whole rule set just for BlackBerry. So we go in and show them, we do one email for NBC and show them the results. We worked with their design. We didn't design it, they designed it, but we said, hey, you got to change this, you got to change that, you can't do that. Well, why not? Well, that's not going to work. And then we went and we showed them results. We sent the email out and we said, look, your open rate is, 39%. Your click-through rate is this. They're like, really? We're like, yeah, is that bad? Because we thought it was pretty good. They're like, no, it's double than what, it's like amazing. We're like, oh, okay, good, And so now we send them on a regular basis, and other divisions of NBC, just because that's how important it is for them to make sure just an email gets through, gets delivered, not to your spam box, and there's no guarantee, they still get in the spam. We can't, I don't know anyone on Gmail. Does anyone have a Gmail account? Yeah. Everyone got the new tabs over there where they got promotions and they got, general mail.
Yeah,
you got email user friendly, email marketer's nightmare. How do you get something from there to there? Because anything that has to be can spam compliant. So if you want to send email marketing the right way, you have to have an opt-out at the bottom of where it's coming from, a physical address of the office, a phone. It's got to be to meet all to be compliant. It's got to be set up a certain way. It's guaranteed to go into that folder because basically anything that has an opt-out is going into that promotional folder. Unless when we first started doing it was like, hey, drag us over to your general mail or whatever the tab is called. But it's not fun for email marketers to kind of take that stuff. But they pay us something they can do in-house to do this stuff for them because they put a premium on their branding. They want the email to look right. They want it to get delivered. They want, so that's why it's that important. When we talk about, I don't know if I have some of the work, some of the design work that we do. Companies pay us a premium because it looks that much better. They can do websites, there's registration websites where you can go up there and you just upload, upload your logo, your background art, and off you go, create your own questions. And we'll charge you $12 for every RSVP. And ours can cost 3 times as much as that, but it's going to look a lot better. It's going to be mobile optimized. It's going to be total custom design on the front end. It's got, all these other things. And they pay it because their most important customers are on the receiving end of this stuff. So, I just wanted to, I hope you know, I wanted to just kind of tell my story a little bit of a company, how we've kind of evolved as a brand, how we continue to evolve as a brand, how our products and services that we offer continuously evolve, and they will continue to evolve. And that's the exciting part. I couldn't do the same thing every day. I don't even like going into the office every day. Never mind doing the same thing, but you know, I spend a lot of time in New York. I drive down to New York a lot, and that's the most important, exciting part of the job for me. I go down, I drive down to the city, and I meet with clients, and we talk about. I do a lot of lunches in New York. I use Yelp a lot, but that's the part that I like to. I love kind of creating ideas and helping solve problems, and then get that in place, and then kind of do something else or creating products. But also, I hope you kind of understand somewhat of the importance of branding and why a company finds it so, how it impacts their bottom line. You walk into any supermarket, you'll see the prices for brand and generic. Pharmacy, brand name, generic. There's a reason you pay a premium for all that stuff. There's a reason why companies respond the way they do on social media, because it impacts their bottom line. It's amazing the things that, the Pepsi tilts, it blows my mind. There's probably a 50-page paper on the branding of Pepsi, and it's like, I don't know if their market share went up or whatever.
I think people are drinking less soft drinks.
Yeah, the whole health kick and water and so.
Well, Diet Coke just came out with everybody's name on it. So
personal, right? There you go.
I'm drink it. I'm not gonna share it.
What's your new name, John? From Frank to John.
Pepsi should
Yeah.
have done more like
Go to their
healthy
website.
options.
And they've tried. They made Coke Zeros come out with
They're
it.
okay with like their light water and whatnot.
Yeah,
But that's
absolutely.
what they should really be focusing, not changing up.
It's funny, like McDonald's, their sales at a record low. Just came out today. McDonald's
Sure.
kids aren't, loving it. And could you remember back? And again, I'm dating myself. Where birthday parties for children were at McDonald's.
I had that too. In the malls.
Where's your party at McDonald's? It was a great thing.
You know what I noticed? They have a new radio commercial and they use the word wholesome like 3 times in the commercial. And I think they're trying to maybe reinvent their brand.
I
And,
think it's time to shut some
you
of
know,
these doors.
they have like apples and milk instead of the cookies and,
Now it's like, what would you like?
Kinda like
Go-Gurt, and it's amazing. Listen, they face that kind of stuff. That all goes towards branding. Subway, and also, fresh, healthy brand. It's, they were the master of the, they have their $5 foot long, $5 foot long. Now you see everything's coming out. Yeah, exactly. High five, and then they come out. Everything. If you look at now, there's $5.55 pizzas at Pizza Hut. All you can eat, or just eat whatever it is. It's $5.55. All you can eat. Everybody wants to compete on the $5 menu. But it's interesting. It's an unexpected world from where I went, from sitting as a college student to where I am today. Just if I could leave you on one note, as important as branding is for a small business owner, for a big corporation, you all have personal brands as well. And it's all, your social. Who's here? Who's on LinkedIn? Anyone on LinkedIn? Who's on Facebook?
I signed up for LinkedIn.
Almost everybody's on Facebook. You signed up for LinkedIn?
Yes.
Anyone on Twitter?
Not anymore.
Anyone blog? Yeah.
Through work, but it's a SharePoint site.
So there you go.
My
But
Instagram is on fire.
now,
Instagram.
so how many people here are on Facebook? Almost everybody. Who's friends with their mothers on Facebook?
I had to block my mom. I'm sorry. I did leave my mom.
Now why?
No. Well, why? Because
Why'd you?
she wasn't like with the times. So I swear, I blocked my mom.
Oh my
She used to like post to my page too much. I said, you gotta stop.
My kids won't put me on Facebook.
Oh yeah, I
My
blocked her.
mom's 75 and has a Facebook page.
Yeah, I told her I'm not.
Fastest growing segment of Facebook.
And she
It's
communicates
65 plus.
with her sister in California, and that's real, and her relatives in Virginia, and and Maine.
It's a great way to keep it. Well,
Pictures,
she's the reason why Facebook is losing all the youth.
Oh,
They-
probably.
No, because once grandma's on, it's no more cool
Yeah,
anymore.
it's not cool.
You know, so now they're all Snapchatting and doing all that
Yeah,
stuff.
that's
and-
I don't do that.
Snapchat.
I've never
I
heard
have
of that.
Snapchat.
I have everything that comes out. I have teenage nieces. They tell me what's
Well,
hip
my
on the
son's
street,
on
and
to
I
that.
download it
I'm
so I know what's going on, right?
It's good though.
So it's, you know, but it's interesting because all that stuff goes to your personal brand. So things that I wish I learned in college, that I learned early in my career, your own personal brand of who you are. So your LinkedIn profile, your Facebook profile. If you don't want, all right, the iCloud recently got hacked,
Yeah.
right? Celebrity nude photos.
Mhm.
You don't want nude, all right? So I don't care how safe you think anything is, nothing is safe, okay? Do not take, you don't want it on the internet, don't take the photo.
Pretty much.
Plain and simple, all right?
Don't put it out
Don't
there.
put it out there, it ain't gonna get, I can
Right.
guarantee that. There's Photoshop where people can, you know, do whatever, but I can tell you that if you don't take the photo, it's not gonna get leaked. But your own personal brand, professional brand development, setting that up, a LinkedIn profile, Facebook profile, Twitter profile, and keeping this stuff, you know, like the grandma test, when I talk to kids, you know, would you want your grandmother seeing what you posted on Facebook? But I only share it with my friends.
That's why mom had to.
I don't care who you share it with. You put it out there, it is out there.
Yeah.
Block
Screenshot.
Talk to kids.
You know, oh, Snapchat, it disappears. Oh, yeah? Talk to the, you know, the teenage girl who's been terrorized by the, you know, quick shot she sent to her boyfriend who broke up and sent it, you know, and saved it and sent it to everybody. So, but use it to your advantage. This can help you get a job. This can help you get an interview. This can help you get, I don't care, maybe one day you have your own business. And then your network of people that you talk to and reach out to get meetings are going to be the most, when I first started out, that was the most important thing. I started hitting up first started with friends, then LinkedIn, everybody I knew, hey, started the business, this is what I'm doing. Hey, started the business, you know, and I'm like, man, I wish I, you know. So I try to help everyone, treat everybody with respect. You know, do things not expecting anything in return, but just hope for good karma. Now, if you use this to your benefit, now, if I interview people to come in for a new job, I'm going to be looking at people that, let me look at your LinkedIn profile. I want to see people who kind of get that. I don't care if you blog about cats, cake, you know, McDonald's, I don't care. Show me that you're passionate about something and write about it. That shows me a little initiative that you kind of get it. You start doing that, what's your most passionate thing? What do you like most? Football, sports?
Exercise.
Exercise.
Yeah.
Write about it. Share it. Give your point of view on it. Become a, you know, position yourself as a somewhat of a, I don't have to say subject matter expert, but, you know, start, you know, people sit there and they go, oh, they look at me and they're like, Charlie, it looks like you're doing really well. The reason they think we're doing really well is because of the stuff that we put on Facebook. Because when I go down to a meeting, I take a picture and I go, hey, this is where we are. It's not because I want to tell everyone where we are, because I'm giving an impression of kind of who we're meeting with, what we're doing, the level that we're at. Use it to your advantage.
I've seen your Facebook.
Yeah.
Last class I looked at it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, but you do that, there's a reason for it. It's not, you know, it's hard to come up with good content. You know, some of it's fun, but it can get you a job.